Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the primary debates for the August 28th primary election. And next up, we have the Pasco County School Board District 3, which is southwest Pasco pretty much, mostly south of 54. And we have three candidates. We have the incumbent, we have Cynthia Armstrong, and we have Megan Hamer, and Heidi Janshon. Yes, I got it. And they will be debating tonight for the next 45 minutes, or 40 minutes anyway. Our questioner is Jeff Solchek of the Tampa Bay Times. And we also have the timers, so to tell how we're going to do it, we're going to have each one, we drew numbers a little bit ago, and Cynthia had drew number 1. I don't know if that's good or not, but she got number 1, so she'll go first, and she'll give a 3-minute opening statement, and then we'll go right down the line. And then Jeff Solchek will start asking questions, and he will ask a question. The first person has two minutes to answer, and then the next person has a 1-minute rebuttal or answer, and they both do that, and then the original person has 30 seconds. So it's 2 minutes to the original person, it's 1 minute to the other two candidates, and then it'll be a 30-second rebuttal for the first one, and then we'll alternate. The next question will go to the second candidate on down. At the end, they each get a 2-minute rebuttal. So that the candidates know how we're keeping time, we have the Serve Pro timer down here, and when there's 1 minute left, we'll turn the green light on. So there won't be any light on when we start on the longer answers. When there's 30 seconds left, we'll change to the yellow light and raise up a little paddle. And when there's 15 seconds left, we'll turn on the red light. So when the red light goes on, you still have 15 seconds. But when we get to the end, Marilyn Janshon is going to ring the bell, and that means you need to stop. If everybody can turn off their cell phones or put them on vibrate. And also, we only have so much time, so please hold all your applause till the end. At the end, you'll have a chance to applaud them, and we'll go from there. And with that, we'll turn it over to Jeff Solchek.
We're going to turn it over to Mrs. Armstrong to start off on our opening statements, 3 minutes each.
All right. I'm Cynthia Armstrong, a school board member for District 3 and currently serving as the chairman of the school board. I take this responsibility very seriously, and I'm proud to say that since being elected, I have not missed a single school board meeting. I began teaching in Pasco County 40 years ago and taught science in all grades 7th through 12th, and also served as an adjunct professor at the local community colleges. I also have a master's in education. I have owned several small businesses, and I'm currently co-owner of Coulter Banker F.I. Gray Residential. I have used both my teaching and business experience to ensure our students in Pasco receive a world-class education and to make budget decisions to ensure our district is financially sound. I was a key proponent of the district's CNG fueling station, which is up and running this year. We now have 30 energy-efficient, clean-running CNG buses transporting students. I've been a strong supporter of the expansion of educational opportunities for our students by adding magnet schools, career academies in all high schools, and next month the opening of Wendell Crinn Technical High School. Businesses will now have a pipeline of qualified employees and a reason to expand in Pasco County instead of in neighboring counties. I believe that all students deserve the opportunity to be trained in a career even if they do not go to college. As a school district, we face some big challenges in the coming years, such as growth in student population. Last year, the district opened Bexley Elementary School and Cypress Creek Middle High School. I fought for the increase in school impact fees so that the growth in the new homes will help pay for the additional schools that are needed. My passion for public education goes far beyond my required duties. I am the Rotary Advisor to the Interact Club at Mitchell High School, a junior achievement volunteer, a school shelter volunteer during Hurricane Irma, and since being elected, I've organized community move-in days for the new and remodeled schools to help teachers move into their classrooms. I truly believe that the more we involve the community with our schools, the better our schools will become. I am passionate about education and have embraced having a role in making sure that our students are ready for college, career, and life. Thank you.
My name is Megan Hamer, and I am a candidate for Pasco County School Board District 3. 3 reasons I'm a candidate, and my 3 goals when I become the school board member is to continue our responsible building and growth, have a robust, comprehensive curriculum, and prepare our students for the future. I believe that these are necessary to ensure that we have a well-rounded student and that we are spending our money efficiently. With responsible building and growth, I believe we need to go after solar companies and see if they would be willing to be have Pasco be our pilot program and support our schools. With solar, we can save money on electricity. We can sell the electricity back to the grid in the summer, and thereby creating more funds in our budget to actually educate our students. To build a robust, comprehensive curriculum, I believe that we need to work with our current teachers and our recently graduated students to find a curriculum that best suits the students who are going into career in college. For readiness for the future, I agree with Ms. Armstrong. We need to have more tech availability in our school. We have Wendell Kren opening here in the west side in the next couple of weeks. However, on the east side, they don't have a submersive technical program. We have Marchman and Wendell Kren within the few miles of each other, a few blocks of each other, and the east side's wondering what happened to us. Where is our education? In my first 100 days when elected, I will be visiting all of our schools. I will be talking to all of our principals, and I will be going to Tallahassee and Washington, D.C. to meet with our elected officials to make sure that we get the funding in Pasco that we need so all of our students are safe and well educated. Thank you.
My name is Heidi Janshon, also running for the District 3 school board seat. I come from a varied background. I have a master's in music from Florida State University. I've been married for 15 years. I have 2 children. They are 12 and 14. They just finished Seven Springs Middle School. My daughter will be continuing there. My son will be starting at Mitchell High School. For the past 3 years, I've been substitute teaching in our schools from kindergarten through 12th grade, kindergarten in Title I schools, as well as non-Title I schools. So I have a broad and focused background that helps me to really see the teacher side of the education realm, as well as a parent side of the education realm. And of course, I've been working with the students. Also, I do have my own business. I have a Mary Kay business that I've been running for the past 13 years successfully in Pasco County. And for 7 of those 13 years, I was a sales director. I began advocating for education several years ago when I decided that I needed to be in the schools to substitute teach and see what was actually happening in our schools. And I've been very active attending school board meetings. I've also been on the SAC committee for Seven Springs Middle School. I've been a PTO president, social chairman, as well as a vice president for our PTO at our elementary school. So I really feel that I can grasp what is going on inside and outside. My advocacy actually started when Common Core came into play, when Pasco County and many of the other counties decided to fully implement Common Core. And I am not a fan. And so therefore I started speaking out fervently for the changes that I felt that were necessary, especially in our testing. And so those of you who have children understand that we are in a time where over-testing has taken hold, and we are so focused on the testing that our students, that you're showing a great disservice to our students, and especially our teachers, and we talk about teacher evaluation, so I can speak to that too. I'm really honored to have had this opportunity to be in front of you and have this debate, and I can't wait for the questions. So thank you very much. Again, my name is Heidi Janshon.
Thank you very much. And I gotta remember to hold the mic up here. We're gonna start with questions with Ms. Armstrong too, or did we then move on to, okay. We're gonna start off with a little why you question. You've been on the school board for 2 terms. Right now we're seeing a statewide movement to put term limits on school board members. So I guess my question would be, for you, why should people continue to keep you on the school board? And for the others in the same vein, why should they not continue to keep an experienced school board member with a lot of tenure doing things on the school board?
All right. The qualifications that I had when I first ran for school board still apply today. The teaching background, the business background, that still applies today, and I'm able to use that experience in every day. Also, as a school board member, I've seen us go through some tough times during the recession, really had to dig in, do budget cuts we really didn't want to do. Now that things are a little bit better, where we can expand out a little bit more, but we still have budget issues. So that experience of going through the really tough times makes it, it's a valuable experience for now when we still need to really watch what we're doing and we want to expand back prudently. I've been through a lot of training. I'm a certified school board member. There is so much involved with running a school that district that has a $1.2 billion budget. Hires 75, has over 7,500 students, has 10,000 staff. Our salary budget alone bi-weekly is $18 million. So it's a very involved business. It's the biggest business in Pasco County. So with that experience that I have, I feel like I can really bring even more to the school board in making sure that we spend our money wisely, that we educate our students correctly, that we can expand the programs that we need to expand to make sure that we have these new opportunities for students, not only in technical, but also in advanced education programs.
The question is, why not Miss Armstrong?
Or why you?
Okay. I believe, as a former foster parent of many children with different disabilities and different learning styles, that I bring a different view of how our schools should be. We had issues with children getting services in some of the districts that I worked in, and we had fantastic services. And here in Pasco, we don't seem to have fantastic services. Additionally, I will answer emails and phone calls from parents whose children are getting bullied in District 3 schools, whereas I know many parents who have not had phone calls or emails returned to them. Thank you.
That's a very good question. I feel that 8 years would be sufficient for a person to do a great amount of work on the school board. When school board members pass the 8-year mark, then there tends to be a real dependence on that person to react the same way they have over the past 8 years. And I feel that bringing someone in who is a parent, who has experience in the schools now and has access to the teachers and has had access to the teachers, that is something that is invaluable. And I would have to agree with Ms. Hamer that over the past 6 years, that the response that I have gotten from my school board member has not been tremendous.
I have met with every parent that wants to meet and answered emails. Unfortunately, can't always do what each parent wants, but I really work hard to resolve the issues that they have with the schools. I believe in thinking outside the box and being innovative, so that means changing, looking at things differently all the time. So I bring that to the school board.
The next question starts with Ms. Hamer. In law, it's the school district administration that runs school district's daily operations. Board members are supposed to set policies and set budgets. How much do you see yourself working with the administration, and how do you anticipate approaching issues where you either cannot get the administration to place them on the agenda, or you disagree with what the administration is doing?
I ask a lot of questions. So I would be very open and say, why are we not placing this item on the agenda? Why are we spending this much money? Why are we spending $8,000 or $800,000 on single-use non-emergency water bottles, for example? So looking through our budget, combing through our budget, and saying, I don't understand why we have this the way it is probably the biggest asset I can bring to the district. Asking those questions, meeting with the parents to see what their priorities are, and make sure that we continue to do that in the budget. Currently, I have a lot of questions about the budget that went unanswered last year. I'm sure this coming budget, I will have the same questions. And they're just not getting asked by our district officials. They're not getting asked by current school board members. They're not being answered when parents and community members and stakeholders are asking them.
Very good question. I too ask a lot of questions, and I feel that there can be a good working together and there can be a healthy disagreement on certain topics. I do feel that there ought to be a checks and balances, and that a school board member should ask all of the pertinent questions. That if there are things that are red flags, or things that teachers and parents bring up, and even students have emailed their school board members to bring up, I feel that the school board member is the representative of the people, and they should be asking those questions in their place and doing their due diligence.
All right, question about the agenda. Any item can be placed on the agenda with the vote of 3 school board members, because we do ultimately control the school board meeting. It's true, the administration, the superintendent is responsible for the administrative part of it, but we have checks and balances that we can apply if we feel like something is not being done properly. Budget time is always a stressful time. There's always a lot of questions asked, and I do get the answers that I want, and I do return emails from people that email me. Thank you.
Did you have anything you wanted to add? No? Ms. Janshon, did we get that right? You, along with a lot of other people, have been very interested in school boundary issues, and so I'm going to let you start this question. I didn't know who to pick to start, but it's next on my list. These have taken up time for years, school boundary issues, and they look like they're going to continue to take up time for years to come because of growth issues. And so the underlying concern of finding seats for students is just not going away right now. So I would just like you to explain how you would approach rezoning and growth, and you'd have 2 minutes.
Great. Yes, we are growing at an exponential rate, and I feel that it's just a fact that we haven't prepared in our school district for the number of students that we're now facing, nearly 77,000 students. There was a proposal on a policy that Mr. Lukehart wanted to make, and I so seconded. I believe that we ought to have a standard policy within our district and make it work, is that students that start at a middle school, that they be permitted to finish at that middle school. Students who start at their high school be permitted to finish at that high school. And if if a middle school shares a campus with a high school, that those students be permitted to go 6th through 12th grade. Boundaries are going to change. Obviously, there are going to be new schools that are built. But I feel that if the parents are advised early enough, and the district is transparent with the way that they're planning to draw the lines, and they're honest and sincere in their intentions, that we can work together and the community can work together. And if they are open to receiving public comment and feedback from the parents, as we now see in the new process.
Ms. Armstrong.
Rezoning is probably the toughest thing that a school board member has to do. And the problem is being impartial, looking at what's going to be best for the whole county as far as costs, the cost of busing, the cost of putting portables in. If people don't want to do that, it's a temporary fix. We've tried other methods before rezoning with magnet programs, we're now starting address verification. But when it comes down to it, when you open a new school, you have to draw the lines, and that is where you must be impartial.
As Ms. Janshon said, we are currently at about 77,000 students, and in the next 15 to 20 years, it'll probably jump to approximately 140,000 students based on the expected population growth of Pasco County. We're not prepared. But when rezoning necessitates itself again, I will listen to the stakeholders in the community. I will work to make the best choices for our students and families, but ultimately tough decisions will have to be made, and some families and some students will not be happy.
You have 30 seconds.
I understand that we do have to make tough decisions, but again, if we communicate and we communicate in a kind and compassionate way, I believe that we can still be able to achieve the goal necessary to rezone students to the proper schools.
I'm just going to check how much time we have left. We have time for a couple more questions. Let's talk about budgets, because it's clearly an issue that also is out there. We've heard about the 47-cent per student additional discretionary funds that are coming to districts this year, and a lot of money is just not there. So teachers want raises, programs need to be improved perhaps. Where is this money going to come from, or how do you balance that budget? Is a tax a possibility?
Right, obviously a tax would not be a possibility this year. There's no time to do that. So we have to look at what the state legislature has given us to work with, what the millage rate as they set at the state level. So we can compute what it is we're going to have to work with. We look at how much is in categoricals, which means that we don't have control over where that money is spent, the state legislature does. So from that, we look at what's left, and we look at what initiatives we want to move forward. We look at what we want to do for the teachers as far as salaries. We look at what we're required to do by the state, such as the safety programs this year. And just to really first try to cut. Go to all the schools, go to all the district departments, and see what discretionary money can be cut, and then see what we have left. It is a very tight budget year this year because of the state legislature funding, but in the end, we have to have a balanced budget just like the state legislature, and we do it in the best way we can to affect the student in the classroom the least. That is where our emphasis is on. It's on the student in the classroom.
Obviously, we need to get more funding into our schools. We need to make sure that our students have the best teachers, and the best teachers cost money. An investment in our students is never wasted, and an investment in the people training the future leaders of tomorrow is never wasted. We definitely need more space in our schools for our expected population boom. And the frustrating thing is the current school board members worked with the county commission to get our impact fees raised, and yet recently the county commissioners voted to waive impact fees for a new development. So that's money lost to build schools for our students.
Yes, we have, as the budget stands right now, there will be $5 million left over as discretionary to non-earmarked funds to be able to do what the district can do. Obviously, $5 million is not going to do very much when you spread it out across the district. However, I do feel like there are some cuts that can be made, having been privy or part of the process. It's hard to say from this vantage point what could be cut, but I do think that our teachers should be at the very top of the list of being rewarded for what they deal with every single day in the classroom. And I feel that a 0.75% raise is not much, and hopefully this year we can really look at something more substantial.
I didn't answer one of your questions. I don't want to be accused of not doing that. You asked about a possibility of requesting a tax increase. Any tax increase would have to be voted by Pasco County. There's a number of different ways it could be. It could be a bond, or it could be an extra millage on your property tax, but that would be at the discretion of the voters.
I know that we were going to try to get everybody to answer first each time, but I don't know if we have enough time to do that. Two. We don't have time for two. I have time for one. Is somebody willing to wait, or are you good? You okay? Okay. I'm going to jump ahead to just a real sort of broad question to round it out. It's like, whoever wins will have 4 years on the board to accomplish priorities, and so I would like to hear, you sort of started to talk about your top 2 priorities of what you would make sure are your must-do items for the school board, maybe something that hasn't been done before or thought about before.
Sorry. My top priorities are making sure that we are responsible with our building, and we are responsible with a comprehensive curriculum, including technology education, or VOTEC. Again, the responsible building and growth, we need to do solar panels, we need to expand the electric bus program so that our environment, one, we're Florida, we're the Sunshine State, we should be using solar panels on everything, but our environment's very important. Mr. Hooper was up here earlier and said he doesn't want drilling 3 miles off the coast of Florida. I agree, and I think that we need to preserve as much of our beautiful Pasco County land as we can, and we need to prepare our students for their future. We need to have a curriculum that prepares them. VOTEC is top of my list of ways to do that, because I found out when I was in high school that college isn't for everyone. It was for me, but it was not for my friend who made more money as a CNA while I was, bagging groceries after school. And she was able to do that while in school. First 10 days of the school year, she became a licensed CNA. So I think we have options. I just think we need to be smarter about how we do it. We need to remember the East Side. We need to listen to the East Side, because we have Wendell, Penn, and Marchman on the West Side, and they're both going to do fabulous this year. But what about the East Side?
Well, I think I have a list of 10 things. First and foremost, I would love to improve the conditions under which our teachers teach. And that is saying that being in the classroom and seeing what they have to accomplish administratively, as well as with teaching our students, sometimes seems very unrealistic, the extra hours that they put in. So first and foremost, let's look at a plan to really reward our teachers and to keep them, because we're losing teachers. Secondly, I've seen in the classroom is that some of our students are being left behind. A great number of our students are being left behind, and to get more supports to be able to help them. I'd also like to see a decrease in testing, which also happens on the district level and not just the state level. I would also like to work on the policy that I mentioned about incorporated in the whole rezoning process. And those are my top issues.
Right. As far as I do believe in technical education, not only just for the people that aren't going to college, but also for ones that are going to go on to college, because it gives them a career path to know what they want to study in college. The East Side Technical School, we've been talking to businesses. It's going to be going on the 5-year plan, and with the help of businesses, we hope to make that vision a reality. I do believe that we need to recruit the very best teachers. We need to make sure that we do pay them the pay that they deserve, as well as our non-instructional staff. It is important that we do provide the best programs available for all the students, that we give the best choice. So I do believe we need to expand magnet schools.
You can have 30 seconds more if you like.
My comment is, how are we going to pay the best teachers when we can't find the money? And we need to work on finding that money in our budget. And $800,000 isn't a lot, but what are we spending it on single-use water bottles for non-emergency use?
Now, I do not know how you decided to do the... I can do another question. Oh, boy. Since you let me do another question, she gave me a question. I'm going to ask it. She wants to know about charter schools. The school district, obviously right now at least, gets to approve, or at least consider approving, the charter schools that are open in the school system in this district. And we've seen the administration ask questions about whether we need that specific charter school, whether they provide anything different. But at the end of the day, they're okaying them. I want to know, would you just approve every charter school that comes before you if it meets all the check marks on the state list, or would you challenge those more often? Would you participate in the lawsuits that, say, Palm Beach County is pursuing against charter schools? Where are you on charter schools?
I think that we can have a really great balance of charter schools. I love homegrown charter schools. I think that they provide a choice that parents might be looking for. I don't see that a complete takeover of charter schools is in order, and I do not like to see charter school management companies taking our tax dollars for managing a conglomerate of charter schools and coming into our districts and doing so. I have heard our superintendent say that they would, if they thought that they didn't like a charter school, that they could refuse it, but then it gets sent to Tallahassee anyway, and Tallahassee goes ahead and approves it, which I don't know. I don't know if that is true or not, but if it's true,
it is.
Okay. Well, I really think that if our local school board and our superintendent, our administrative staff had done their homework and they have researched these charter schools and they sincerely do not think that they ought to be approved, then they shouldn't. They shouldn't, and they should do what they need to do to not have that charter school open up in our county.
Right, since I've been on the school board, we've had a number of charter school applications. Charter schools are not routinely rubber stamped. There are ones that we do turn down. There's ones that we say your application's insufficient, you need to work on it and come back. I have been in a situation where we did refuse it, and it did go to Tallahassee with a lot of legal expense. We ended up being ordered to approve it anyway. So we always have to consider that financial aspect as far as whether we spend the money. But we can also encourage them to shut down when they don't perform, which we have done.
I believe charter schools should be called what they are. They are private schools managed by for-profit companies. While they may have a board of directors on a non-profit board, the parent company is generally a for-profit company. According to the League of Women Voters, 25 to 40% of the funds given to charter schools go directly to the management company. I think charter schools don't have a place in Pasco. Very rarely do they. Very rarely. There might be a student who that is the one option for them, such as Pepin Academy, but very rarely should charter schools be the option, especially when they're getting a huge amount of funding for a very small percentage of schools and students.
You want to add anything else? You good? Now, I don't know what the...
Before the drawing, we said the same person would start. So
Okay, so time for closings. Ms. Armstrong will go first.
All right. Thank you for being here. Being a school board member in Pasco requires many skills. You must be financially responsible to manage a budget of approximately $1.2 billion. for the taxpayers, oversee construction and maintenance of 85 schools, implement instructional programs, approve contracts with teachers and staff, constantly monitor policies for students and employees. It is also imperative to develop a system of managing healthcare for our employees that is second to none. There are also buses and the drivers, there are sports, there is the arts, along with service clubs and academic competitions. A school board member is also called on to work with and lobby the legislature on behalf of the district and to engage the community to be more involved in our schools. An exceptional school board member is a cheerleader for the district, for the schools, for the administrators, the teachers, and most of all for the students themselves. I believe that a good school board member is involved in the business community, not only through the career academies, but also through business partnerships, which have proven mutually beneficial. While on the board, I've shown strong leadership skills in each of these areas. During my tenure on Pasco County School Board, I've proven time and time again that I do not have a predisposed personal agenda. While I spend many hours each month listening to input and options from all sides of an issue, I sit on the board to make clear and impartial votes while respecting the ideas and opinions of my colleagues and all of those affected. When I am elected on August 28th, I promise again to humbly serve the citizens of Pasco County and to continue to put my experience to work, looking for ways to keep our district innovative so that our students will graduate ready for college, career, and life. Thank you.
I want to thank everyone for being here this evening as well. I believe that you have 3 candidates in front of you, and one of us, me, should be elected on August 28th. I believe that we can build a better Pasco, we can build a better future for our students. We can support our teachers through a wonderful financial and benefits package so that they know their value as the instructors of the leaders of tomorrow. Our students are our future, and I think many times we forget this. And if we create a working environment for our teachers that is second to none, we create a learning environment for our students that is second to none. Currently, that's not the situation in Pasco, and we can do better for our students. Again, my name is Megan Hamer, and I ask for your vote on August 28th.
I believe that we can work together as a community. One of my campaign mottos is every voice counts, and every one of your voices counts. Even if it's a dissenting voice, an opinion, something that is contrary to what mine might be, I would be open to hearing you and to bring your concerns to the school board. I do feel that over the past 6 years that I've been truly involved with this school board and attending all these school board meetings, I don't feel like I have been welcomed at our school board meetings. I do realize that every time I speak, I might be bringing something up that would be something that our school board might not welcome hearing. However, I don't think that should be a red light at the door saying, do not come in. You're a parent, we want you involved, but we only want you involved to an extent. I believe what I bring to the table is having seen our classrooms recently from the inside, loving substitute teaching and teaching your children from K through 12. I'm a mother, I have a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old. I understand. We've been involved in rezoning. I understand what that process is too. And fighting it, and fighting for all the people, and listening to all the voices. I feel that our school board needs people who are not only involved in the business community as I have been successfully. I've earned 5 free Mary Kay cars. I know how to work. I worked in corporate banking in New York City. I've sung professionally as an opera singer all over the world, including Carnegie Hall. I'm not at all deterred by a challenge of looking at a $1.2 billion budget, and I would appreciate your vote on August 28th. My name is Heidi Janshon.
Thank you very much. That is the end of our district. We'll take those right to our District 1 candidates.